Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sam Badrin, your lovely professor. So I'm glad to record this video presentation. Just like I said last week, that I will not be available for this class on Tuesday because of medical appointment. So I hope you learned from this video and gain the same insight just like we have in the classroom. So without further ado, we'll be looking at chapter 4 and chapter 5 in this video. So I'll move to chapter 4, designing and analyzing job. So, and these are the learning objectives. I'm just going to jump that. So where are we now? So the purpose of this chapter is to show you how to analyze jobs and write job description with a talent management orientation. So talent management processes, just like I said in the other class, that talent management is the way we attract, motivate, develop, and attract, retain talent. So the trend of traditional managers in talent management is to determine if a job vacancy is available within the organization. They do that through workforce planning to know how many vacant positions and how many jobs needs to be fixed or to be advertised for filling. So they build a job of job applicants applying for the jobs. They can actually look at it internally with readily available talent within the organization, or they can advertise, through external means or through social media. Get the application forms ready for the applicants. They can also do interviews, background check, reference check, and also other type of exams, whether physical examination or um, medical test or whatever it is. But remember, when you're doing your medical test or any form of interviews, it must meet or pass BFOR, Bonafide Occupational Requirements. Okay, so then they now decide who to make offer to, have to chosen identifying the right candidate. Once the candidate is offered employment of letter of employment, then the next thing is orientation, onboarding, and of course, the set performance of the new employee and measure the performance at the right time. If the employee meets up with the right performance target, then compensation will come in the form of bonuses, promotions, and all of that. So just like I said earlier, talent management is an holistic, integrated, and result and goal-oriented process of planning, recruiting, selecting, developing, managing, and compensating employees. So you need to have managers will need to ask themselves why. Why do we need to hire? What kind of testing procedure are we going to use? What kind of interview are we going to use to identify the right candidate? What kind of actions are we going to pay attention to? And how do we hire? How do we train? The difference between training and hiring is when you hire somebody, the next thing is to give them orientation or let them go through onboarding process, which is the interconnectivity between training and um, hiring or recruiting. Okay, so I'll just jump straight to our talent management software, which is the same thing as HRIS, Human Resources Information System, which we also discussed last class. These are software we use in HR to augment our work, to make HR work look seamless. There are software that we use in working in HR to make our work seamless and smooth. Okay, one of the popular ATS that we use, software that we use called ATS, Applicant Tracking System, that we use in hiring. Okay, so we have other ones like the ADP, SAP, and so on and so forth. Now let's go to the main area where we should be focusing on. That is job analysis. So in the classroom, last week I discussed this with some of our students. Job analysis is divided into two parts: job description and job specification. So, job description talks about the job, the tasks, the duties, While the job analysis specification talks about the KSAO, knowledge, skills, abilities of the candidate that is, expected to do the job. So, job analysis is broken down into two parts: job description and job specification. Job description is about the job specification is about KSAO of the candidate, the knowledge, skills, abilities, and other attributes of the candidate that should be doing the job. So, job in itself, what is job? Job is well, it's activities. There are activities or duties or responsibilities that is attached to a job. All right, when you break job down into tasks, combination of tasks or responsibilities form a job. There are a group of related activities and duties that a single person does. While position, on the other hand, is attached to hierarchy. Okay, the responsibility that is attached to one's hierarchy on the job. Then incumbent is someone who is doing the job currently holding that position or that rank. That's incumbent. So, what do we use job analysis for? We use job analysis for almost everything in HR. We use it to plan work activities, to identify the KSAO that is required of the person that is going to do the job, to identify what kind of tools, equipment, and work aids that the person needs or the position is lacking. We also use it to set performance standards in terms of quality and quantity. We use it to identify job context in terms of physical work condition and also the level of experiences, the level of trainings and education and knowledge that is required, for anybody to hold the job. All right, if you look at the model here, the model is talking about job analysis, which is at the top, then which is broken down into two parts: job description and job specification. So these two parts are part of what forms job analysis. And job analysis can be useful. It's useful for human resource planning, recruitment and selection, job evaluation, wages and salaries planning, performance appraisal, labor relations, training and development, career management, job design, and so on and so forth. So we use job analysis for all of this in HR and even more. Okay, these are the repetition of what we have in the green boxes. So, what are the 6 steps? What are the steps we use in, you know, collating job analysis? So, the first thing is to identify the job we want to analyze or jobs that we want to analyze. So we can have more than one job that we want to analyze and also determine the type of techniques we want to use in collecting the data. Collecting the right data, valid and reliable data is focus. All right. So now, once we have the information collected through um, the right tools that we've used or we have considered to be the right tool, then we can now begin to analyze the job into the focus on the job area that talks about the responsibilities, the skills, the knowledge, the responsibilities, the tasks, the duties on the job, and of course the specifications that talk about the KSA, knowledge, skills, abilities of the job holder. Then once we have the information ready, we can now communicate it to whosoever will be needing it, from HR to account department to different departments managers. Um, Still on job analysis, what are the steps? The steps that are very useful for analyzing the job. So the first one is to identify what kind of organization are we into? Okay. So here, I think these systems are broken down. You know, the the organization we run, select the job. All of this, we're going to break it down one after the other. So starting with the first one, what kind of organization structure are we running? Is it a line organization? Is this functional? Is it matrix? Is it flat? So organization chart is very important to know the kind of organization we run for us to be able to analyze the job very well. The second part is process chart. So in process charts, most know the processes of the organization in terms of operations, manufacturing, production, getting things approved. So this can also be represented through flow chart to show what are the processes and what are the things that we run, within the organization. So the second part is, select job to be analyzed. So it can be 5 jobs, 10 jobs, 20 jobs, 50 jobs. It has to be analyzed. Okay. Then inside that we have job design. So job design is a way that we arrange our jobs into categories, related categories in terms of maybe unit or categories in terms of department, how we organize our jobs. You know, no, there are also changes to modern jobs that we have today. Most of the jobs we have today are knowledge jobs, all right, knowledge-based jobs that require more thinking, cognitive abilities, and team spirit. Working with other people collaboratively, using your social skills and tech skills to achieve company's goals. All right. So the third one is collecting job analysis information. So under job analysis, collecting collection of job analysis information, we can either use quantitative, which has statistics and figures. We use qualitative methods, which require no statistics or calculation. So we start with the first one, which is interviews. So to get information about a job, we need to interview the incumbent, the person that is doing the job. Okay, you want to know more about the truck driver or truck driving and their experiences. You need to talk to a truck driver, individual who is doing the job on at that present moment. You can also ask group of truck drivers, group of people, group of employees that are doing the same kind of job, or you can go ahead one step higher and ask their supervisors. Okay, they can also tell you things about the job. So there are guidelines to interview people. You don't just go to people and just say, you have to prepare. You have to make bookings ahead. So identify each employee that you want to interview. All right, especially most of them, whoever you're interviewing must know about the job. He or she must be a subject matter expert on that job. Build your rapport. Choose with choosing employees. The person you want to interview with, you don't have to be very stubborn or don't have to be very rude. You need to build relationship with them. Use structured guideline and interview, structured interviews with a checklist. List all the details and responsibilities, and also review the data with the interviewee rather. To confirm that every information given to you is correct, is accurate. You can also same thing when you're talking to the supervisors or managers. You need to also reiterate, you know, review the questions again and confirm that the data you're collecting is correct and is accurate. So number three, still on that questionnaire, we have two type of questionnaires. We have position analysis questionnaire that talks about the data on duties, responsibilities, and in terms of quantitative metrics. Then we also have the functional job analysis. Talks about the amount of responsibility for data, people, and things, um, including the training, requirement, on the job. So we can also collect data about the job through observation. We observe, and write down everything you see. So it's a way of watching employee to perform their job. They record the frequencies, the behavior. It can mean a well-structured, way or format, or you can also write it scribble in an informal or structured way. So it's good when it's a job that you can observable job, and you write down things about the job. But if the job is not observable, then it becomes challenging. Not every job is observable, especially if this job requires more cognitive thinking than doing. So we can also get information on job data from participant diary or log. So this kind of daily listing that employees are meant to write their activities, things that to do daily, day in, day out on those logs, which can be handed over to the researcher to get the right information about the job. Especially this kind of approach is very good, especially where it is out of bound for a visitor to go in and observe what the employees are doing. So the researcher can make use of participant diary log. So apart from these four areas, which are primary, sources of data collection for job analysis, you can also use the secondary, source. One of them is the National Occupational Classification (NOC). So it's a federal government website where all the jobs in Canada, all the occupations in Canada have been analyzed. So you have the job description, the job certification, everything about the job has been analyzed. So by Employment and Social Development Canada, ESDC. So if there's no budget for interviews or personal research, one can make use of the NOC, all right, the NOC website, which is also very good. Tell us more about the information that we're looking for in a particular occupation or job. And occupation is a collection of jobs that share some of or all of a set of main duties. Now, step four is when we verify all the information that we collected, all the data. The data must be valid and reliable. So we've spoken before about validity and reliability. So that will also work. We need to find out if the data we're collecting is correct, is accurate, is reliable, and we can use it for the purpose of that research. Now, job description and job specification. So, which are two parts under job analysis. So, what is job description? Job description is a well-written statement of what the job holder actually does, what they will do, and how they will do it. Under what condition are they going to do their jobs? This includes their duties and responsibilities, reporting the relationship, human qualifications, working condition of a job, one product of a job analysis. So under job description, we don't have a standard format of writing. Some will write in essays, some will write in tables. So there's no formal way of writing. So whichever way you write is good. Just make sure what you're writing is correct. So job description usually carries some of these features that we have on the screen. And under the job description, we have job identification that talks about the title, department, and location. Job summary, major and minor functions of the job activities, relationship with internal and external stakeholders, such as managers, other managers, CEOs, CFOs, COO, for external governments, government agencies, and all of that. So duties and responsibilities, authority, performance standards, and key performance indicators, and working conditions and physical environment. All of this are part of what it should be in job description and job specification. All right, so writing job description and job specification has to be competency-based approach. All right, unlike before when the managers would just write or scribble down things about the job and give it to whosoever is going to be doing the work. So now we have more of competency-based job description where each and every job is analyzed, including their competencies that are required, and match them together to bring about the best, better competency-based job description. So it's different from the traditional way of writing job description that most of them are driven by gut, all right, or intuition. Now, another thing we must also consider when we are writing our job description is that we must pay attention to human rights. So last week we did the human rights, and one of the things we did was the prohibited grounds like age, gender, sexual orientation, disability, nationality, creed, or religion. So all of this, you cannot write them. Anything that will negate or that will violate human rights is not um, advisable. It's not, welcomed when you're writing your job description. You have to be very careful. You can write things like, hey, if you're above so age or if you don't have Canadian experience, don't apply. Those words, that word, it's discriminatory. So we must at all times pay attention to, when we're writing so that we don't violate human rights. Now let's talk about job specification. Just as job specification, on the other hand, uh, it's talking about the human traits, the human traits or requirement that the job order should have in terms of knowledge, skills, abilities, other attributes. It's very, very limited. It was very, very important to have that. It can also help us clarify this candidate is qualified, is not qualified, who is mentally fit or who is not mentally fit. You can also use statistics to analyze some of the job related traits and probabilities. Now, communication and preparation for revision is another part. So once you have, a system is developed, you have collected the data, and organization has, they may choose the regularly updated data collected in a predictive manner or develop system to collect data on an ongoing basis or adjust job analysis activities in a reactive manner after a significant organizational change is initiated. Now, let's go to work simplification. So, what does work simplification mean? Another word for work simplification is creating a division of labor where managers know what to do as the manager, supervisors know what to do as a supervisor, line staff will also know what to do as a line staff. So nobody is interested, having conflict of responsibility. Okay, that's why we have work simplification. So industrial engineering is another one. We're still going to talk more about people like Frederick Taylor and all of that. So industrial engineering is part of the field that helps us, general manager and management and HR, to quantify what people do in terms of quantity and quality. So we can quantify based on number of production a day, all of those things. All of these things are part of knowledge of that industrial engineering brought to management. Now, business process engineering is another one. So basically, what is BP? Business process engineering is a way where we revamp or redesign a business process to be more efficient and more effective. If you have a business process, or for instance, you want to order a pizza, the pizza should get to your doorstep, within 15 to 30 minutes. If it's getting to 1 hour, 2 hours, that means there's something wrong with their process. So I want to look inward and look at the processes and change or re-engineer or revamp those processes. So identify what to be redesigned, measure performance of existing processes, identify opportunities to improve processes, redesign and implement new ways of doing the work, and also assign ownership of tasks to individual or team. Now let's talk about job design. Under job design, we have three factors. The first one is job enlargement. All right, job enlargement, job uh, rotation, and job enrichment. So job enlargement is also known as horizontal loading. It's all about expanding a job that is on the same level, expanding it maybe because the person should be able to get more jobs or in terms of overtime. Or maybe somebody is cutting, you're doing a job, a certain job, like maybe as a dishwasher, you're supposed to work 9 to 5, but at 3 you're already done. So the manager can also push in more plates, at that same level so that keep washing until it's 5 p.m. So that's a job enlargement. Job rotation on its own is a technique we use in reducing boredomness. We move people from one department to another. It might be within 1 year or 2 years, so that they're not bored doing the same type of thing over time. So it's also a way of redesigning a job. The third one is job enrichment, which is it's called vertical loading. All right. In vertical loading, you're giving a responsibility as a second higher than you. You're taking charge, and also you have authority, you have leadership, you have even financial compensation. Most times, maybe when your manager is going on leave, to choose somebody to also, step in, you know, junior. So when somebody who is a junior is asked to step in to do the responsibility of the manager while away or in absentia, then what they're trying to do is to increase the job of the person. It's called job enrichment because he's going to be doing higher than what he was doing before. So, competency-based job analysis, just like I said earlier, competency-based job analysis is a type of job analysis that is done um, using empirical studies, not because um, the traditional managers cannot, but because most of the traditional job analysis are done by scribbling and observation. All right, but competency-based job analysis will describe the job in terms of what are those things are measurable, observable, behavioral competencies, and other areas that we needed, to improve. So the difference between competency-based job analysis and normal job analysis is that one was collected through research, findings, and the other one was created through gut feelings and intuition. So now, when we are writing our job analysis, there are three levels. Okay, three levels to use competency A analysis. So we use it to work in a self-motivated way. To know more about the organization, the team, encouraging the team members to rotate freely among themselves instead of job and creating motivation. The second type is um, describing the jobs in terms of skills, knowledge, ability, KSAO, and workers need to strategically integrate their perception and concept with the strategic goal of the organization. And the third one is measurable skills. All right, this um, jobs, these skills, this knowledge, this KSO must be measurable. All right, and we should be able to use it to set performance management standards, clearly identifying the basis of the training of training, performance appraisal, and rewards. Now, how to write a competency-based job analysis. One, we have three levels here. We have competence proficiency level one that identify the key projects, our dependencies, and communicates to the stakeholders. Then the second one talks about develop systems to monitor and dependencies and report changes. Then we have level three, proficiency level three, that anticipate changes, changing conditions and impacts to risk and dependencies and take preventive actions. So when we are comparing the traditional versus competency-based job analysis, so in the traditional one, the traditional job analysis, we have the listings of duties and responsibilities by the manager, all right? So based on traditional gut feelings, more specific duties and responsibility may also be readily observable. Um, but in competency based, it's not just about gut feelings, it's about empirical studies, it's about testing, it's about arriving. So most of the job descriptions show combination of competency based and traditional approaches. Now we also have team based job design. So it's a way of designing a job based on a team rather than individual. So the whole essence or the main focus of team-based job is to design a job and a meaningful way for all the team members to be able to identify what they are expected to do. You know, often they are cross-trained and rotated through jobs so that they'll be able to do more than one thing at a time. So in case the other person is not there, somebody will be able to fit in. So work with virtual teams across time, and space. Team, a small group of people with competency skills who work together, uh, who work towards common goals for which they hold joint responsibility and accountability. Okay, all right. I think that is the end of this chapter. Um, See you around in the next video. I wish you, thank you very much for listening, and have a good one.